Hey whales, good morning. It is Thursday, August the 14th. Let's recap the markets and go over the top stocks to buy for today. And as always, before we get started, let's jump in to see how we're doing in regards to our trade so far for this year. And you guys can see we're doing really well, right? We're up 89K USD in profit, 59% win rate across our trades as well. As you guys know, we only started with 100K at the beginning of this year. So 89K in profits, not too bad overall. You can see as well for the month of July, very solid month overall. We did end the month at 9.9K USD in profit. So hopefully we have a great August as well, and we can bring that momentum over. Now, as you guys can see, every trade that I post, everything from DHI to Cheesecake Factory, Amazon, they're all posted here in Discord, guys. So you get the swing trade ideas for those that are busy with their lives, longer term trades, bigger position sizes, bigger wins. You also get the day trade ideas for those that are in and out on a daily basis. You can trade alongside me as well. And yeah, we'll make a lot of money together. So I look forward to seeing you here. The link is in the bio for you to join. Okay, so with that said, let's jump in, guys. Now, as you guys know, there are multiple different setups that I love to trade. The first one is the inverse head and shoulders / accumulation patterns, guys. I love trading these ones because that's where the money's starting to flow into. I do love the flags as well. So bull flags are basically patterns that are continuations in an uptrend. We also like trading pullbacks. So great names pulling back into some key level support or areas. So we want to always keep a monitor on great names that are pulling back. And then, of course, the earnings beats. So companies that have beat their earnings, we want to see what they're doing, how they're monitoring, and if they're a great growing EPS company, we want to make sure we capitalize. So with that said, let's jump into the first name, which is Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola, guys, you guys know I've been a big fan of Coca-Cola. We're in from the lows, right, with the Discord group. And as you guys can see, we are starting to wedge out here. So very nice sort of wedging levels from the swing lows from the last prior weekly support. You guys can see we are also within that sort of 618 level holding support. So in my opinion, as long as Coca-Cola can hold the last weekly low at $66, we have a great chance of extending out and breaking out towards 76 to 79. Now, Coca-Cola is a great defensive name just in case there is increased volatility heading into the September month, guys. As you guys know, September can be pretty brutal. So having a name like Coca-Cola to sort of balance out your volatility, balance out sort of the high flyers. This could be a great add, especially with the big dividends and just a very stable company and an amazing product that I like to drink, a couple of times a week as well. Let's move forward. So the second name here is Merck & Company. So as you guys can see, Merck has been in a huge downtrend, guys, and that's mainly related to the healthcare industry. You guys can see there's a huge amount of pressure. However, as it keeps going down, Merck has finally started to move towards the side. You guys see that, right? Downtrend and then starting to move towards the side. So could this be a case of where Merck and the rest of sort of maybe the healthcare industry is starting to consolidate and build accumulation before maybe testing a reversal? Okay, so could be a possible inverse head and shoulders here in the future. Might take a few months to form, but you want to have this on your radar just in case, right? So as long as Merck can start moving towards the sideways and hold these levels, right? We want to see Merck hold the 618 level. I mean, this is a great company, growing dividends, fantastic business overall. You have a great sort of risk to reward moving forward here in the future for Merck. So keep a lookout, right? As long as the lows can hold, you're looking for Merck higher to at least 88 to 92 in the beginning to form this right shoulder, right? And then let's see if it pulls back and then forms that inverse head and shoulders that we were talking about, okay? So keep a lookout for healthcare. Keep a lookout for names like Merck as well. A great value play with some low beta going into some volatile months coming up. All right, another name that I really like is Next Era Energy. As you guys know, I've been a bull on utilities, guys, on energy. So great inverse head and shoulders starting to form on Next Era Energy. And a lot of utility names are starting to push higher as well, okay? So keep a lookout for a break higher, all right? And you can take a look at sort of the levels that I'm looking at, right? We have this trend line resistance going to act as sort of that main level. But overall, next era starting to look very good. I mean, look on the daily. That's a daily inverse head and shoulders. And then if you zoom out, you have a larger weekly inverse head and shoulders as well. So very nice sort of main areas for next era to try to push off and head higher here. I do see 5 waves in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a bullish sequence, guys. Bullish sequence. So let's see if next era can sort of push forward and go to all-time highs. Great dividend paying company as well. Okay, another name that is interesting as of late, in my opinion, is Oscar Health. So Oscar, definitely a more risky name, can come down closer to, let's say, take the swing lows to the swing highs to the swing lows again to project out a possible 1-to-1 measured move. So yeah, I mean, it can definitely come down and test $9.90 again. You guys can see that's a very big algo level, and it's also sitting on support here. So that is a level, but starting to form possible inverse head and shoulders, or maybe an accumulation here, right? Starting to flag or do something funky here. So as long as Oscar can continue just accumulating, moving sideways, this doesn't look like it wants to break down as nearly as I once thought, right? We had this massive impulsive structure down, but it's holding it. So let's see if Oscar can sort of if it does come down to 990, that could be an interesting level. But anywhere around these zones would be interesting. Okay, so let's see. Another name that I like, you guys know, is Tesla. So look on the weekly time frame, guys. Tesla is holding the moving averages very nicely. Okay, and even with all this negative news, everything from the EV tax credits to the Trump and Elon feud, to really bad earnings, Cybertruck's sales not doing well, Tesla continues to consolidate here into a coiling pattern that could ultimately resolve itself towards these highs, okay, to at least $400 to $460. So let's see if Tesla can keep going. Remember, guys, in the early 2000s, it took Apple and Nvidia 10 plus years of consolidation before it started to uptrend. So keep a lookout for Tesla consolidating for nearly 4 years now. So let's see if Tesla can keep going, making higher lows, right? I do like this name for the future. Okay, another name that's very great and on my radar, a great defensive name as well with potential ongoing volatility in the future, is Verizon. Verizon, all right, on a weekly time frame, you guys can see very nice wedge formation starting to form, right? We are almost getting a weekly golden cross, guys. Golden cross on the weekly where the moving averages are pushing bullish. And even on the daily, guys, you guys can see, if I zoom in a bit, from the last pivot swing low to the swing high, we are holding the bullish 618 level. So that's a bullish sequence. If it can keep holding that level, we have a target at 49 to 53 in the future for Verizon. So looking pretty strong to me, right? Great name. I think the worst is over for Verizon, right? We had about a 4-year downtrend, guys. Starting to move higher. We broke and made the first higher high above this $42 mark, right? We made we got all the way up to 47. So it did break above that high. So it's starting a bullish sequence. So let's see if Verizon can keep going and start this new uptrend. All right, so that concludes the first section of the head and shoulders and accumulation patterns. So those are definitely names to keep a lookout for. Let's move on into the bull flags, guys. So the bull flags are essentially continuation patterns within uptrends. So the first name that I like is Abercrombie & Fitch. So Abercrombie, as you guys know, they completely pivoted and turned around their business, and you guys can see that it is starting to form a bull flag here on a 4-hour time frame, looking pretty strong, right? We've had multiple bull flags that all resolved higher. So who's to say it can't do it again, making nice consolidation level, guys. So the thing I love about bull flags, as you guys know, right? If you see a bull flag here and you see it consolidating, that's a good sign on an uptrend, right? Rather than a large impulsive structure down, that's not what we like. We like consolidation corrective flags like that. So this doesn't look impulsive to me. This looks nice and corrective, nice and consolidating. So Abercrombie and Fitch could be a great name. Off the lows, looking very strong, right? So keep going. Next one that I like is Dutch Bros. So Dutch Bros, great earnings beat, very great growing company, starting to make either a bull flag here, guys, with one more wave lower, okay, and push out, or it's going to resolve itself into a pennant formation instead, like a flag, or a triangle, and it's going to try to push up from those levels. Either or. I think Dutch Bros is a buy. You guys can see as well. Look at the company on a quarterly basis, guys. Amazing growth. Look at the annual growth, guys. Amazing annual growth as well. It is continuously growing. I think Dutch Bros is a great name that could be very interesting around these levels for a flag. All right. The next name that I think is very interesting is Coursera. So who would have thought a company like Coursera that was once deemed down and out starting to look much better, and you guys can see great flag forming after great earnings beat. So we love to sort of play flags after an earnings beat, guys, because this is consolidation before potential higher, right? You have a 62% chance of bull flags going in your favor. So we like to play those odds, and you guys can see for Coursera, another great name, guys. We had a awful last 3 years from 2020 to 2022, but the business is starting to turn around. EPS is starting to grow. Net margin is starting to grow. It is still an unprofitable company for the last 5-10 years. However, starting to look much better, and it has plans to become profitable. So keep a lookout for Coursera. A very interesting name for a flag position as well. All right, next one is O'Reilly Automotive. All right, so O'Reilly, guys, you guys can see great bull flag again. It is not corrective towards the downside. It looks more consolidating. It looks healthy rather than an impulsive structure down. So O'Reilly, I think, could be ready to head higher here. So keep a lookout for that flag as well. We like Rocket Lab. So keep a lookout for Rocket Lab on the daily time frame. Starting to flag out. 4 hours starting to look much better here as well. Okay. So it'll resolve itself soon. There might still be time to go sideways a little bit. We just don't know. But keep a lookout for the daily moving average to start pushing up a little bit, and use that as an inflection point for the company to go higher. Sorry, guys, I have a telephone call. All right. The next one is RTX. So RTX is looking pretty strong as well. We've been mentioning RTX for quite some time. You guys can see it is starting to flag as well. Daily might need to catch up a little bit for the moving averages, but overall still looking okay to me. We called Kratos the competitor of RTX, and that went flying, right? So take a look at Kratos defense, right? This is the last time it bull flagged and broke out. So we're basically trying to see if RTX can essentially do the same here. So again, looks pretty good, consolidating. It's not impulsive towards the downside. So has a good chance to continue heading higher. Again, you have a 60+% chance of bull flags going in your favor. Another one that I like is Shopify. Shopify had an amazing earnings beat, guys. Look at this, 21% beat on EPS, 5% beat on revenue. So that is a great, great company doing wonderful things. Might be bull flagging, might be creating a pennant here as well, right? We just don't know yet. But overall, I mean, if it does either or, it should be a buy on any dip, guys, on the moving averages, and you should be, keep buying Shopify. I mean, look at the company, look at the revenues, right? Doing so much better after its business turnaround in 2022. Okay, so you guys can see Shopify continues to defy all odds and will continue to do so. Let's keep going. Next one is a pure semiconductor play, Synopsys. So Synopsys is looking pretty interesting as well. I mean, take a look at sort of the flag it's forming, right? So nice consolidating. It's not impulsive towards the downside. I'm starting to see, support being held, and it might continue to go sideways for a little bit longer while the moving averages start catching up to price as well. Okay, so keep a lookout for Synopsys. I think it's also a great high momentum play here, ready to push higher with just needs a little bit more buying power here. All right, and then finally for the bull flags is the utilities industry, guys. You guys know already, I've been bullish on utilities. Starting to look pretty interesting. Flag forming, pennant forming. So again, you have a 60% chance of this pushing higher in the future. So I do like the utilities industry, everything from, again, we mentioned Next Era Energy, Dominion Energy, Duke Energy, Centerpoint Energy. These are all companies that you can look out for the utilities industry to continue going higher. All right, so that concludes the bull flags. Let's go to the pullback. So these are great names that are pulling back here that I love to take a look at. So the first one is Berkshire Hathaway. We've been mentioning about Berkshire Hathaway to be a buy once it started to reach the moving averages. You guys can see we had a nice reaction from those levels. And again, flagging very nicely across the moving averages here. And Berkshire, I mean, it's a wonderful company, guys, right? You guys can take a look. Look at the growing annual growth rate. Very beautiful here. Quarterly, amazing margins as well. So keep a lookout for Berkshire. I think it's a great defensive name, especially with some volatility possibly coming up here. Another name that I like as a pullback is Caterpillar. Caterpillar and the industrial industry, they're starting to pull back a little bit, but you guys can see that we did break to all-time highs across 418. So once Caterpillar broke that all-time highs and pulling back into a zone, that basically means it is a bullish sequence. A bullish sequence is when instead of, right, we get this large downtrend, instead of stocks bouncing up and then heading lower, we call that a dead cat bounce, it actually broke to all-time highs. So that basically means that this is a bullish sequence, and it's bullish, right? So the downtrend has officially been broken. So with that said, you have a nice company pulling back towards possible moving averages, and we love to buy on moving averages, guys. That's a great starter position to possibly go into. And with Caterpillar finding support there in the future, you have a chance for it to continue running higher. Okay, so keep a lookout for Caterpillar and the industrial industry. Another name that we like, interestingly enough, is Chipotle. We've been mentioning Chipotle for the last few weeks here. You guys can see as it was pulling back, we mentioned the 200 weekly moving average could be a great place to have a starter position. It is there already. And you see that every time it did reach around those levels, it signaled a bottom. And Chipotle is the best fast casual food company in the world, guys. You should always have companies like this, especially generational buys at the weekly 200 moving average for companies like Chipotle, right? This is, it's been a while since price has reached down there. So great opportunity to possibly have a starter position add on to the future. Let's keep going. So the next name that is very interesting is SMR, New Scale Power. So very high volatility name, but you guys can see it is across the measured move between the 1-to-1 and 1-6-1-8. So what does that mean? That means that we took the first downfall, right? And then we just apply that on the second one. It's a measured move, perfect equal lengths, and you guys can see we did react off of that 37.01 level. So let's see if the bulls step in around the black box area. Okay, so we're basically looking for SMR to find support across the daily moving averages, either here or the 200 moving average as well. And if it can, right, initial target is the $42, and then $60 if it can break to all-time highs and form a bullish sequence like I've mentioned on Caterpillar. Let's keep going. Another name is UNH. So UNH, guys, I think this is a very interesting name. You guys know that, like Merck, the healthcare industry is starting to look a little bit better. We're on basically the 200 monthly moving average as well. So these levels, guys, make sense for at least a starter position, or at least to try to get into. They have a monopoly, guys. UNH has a monopoly on healthcare, essentially. And, eventually healthcare will turn around in the future. You also see on the weekly time frame as well that we're starting to form a bullish divergence. We might get a few more marginal lows. We don't know yet. Okay, but wait for this accumulation possible and then a turnaround here. So this is sort of what I'm looking at, a wedge, possible accumulation towards the right, same thing with Merck, and then higher. It might take a long time, guys, a few months going into 2026, but ultimately, if you wanted to do a starter position, makes sense, and you get the dividends as well on a great name. And then finally, for the pullbacks, we like to take a look at Visa. So keep a lookout for Visa, guys. You know that I'm a big bull on MasterCard, Visa. They have basically a great business. Anytime you swipe a credit card, they will make money. And you guys can see they're also in the buy now, pay later. They're starting to get into that industry as well to just keep up. But you guys can see a three-wave move would make sense. I mean, this could be the bottom. It might have front-ran the algos at 325.46. So, Visa could be a great name again. On the 200 moving average, we like to always buy that on great names. So let's see if Visa can continue heading higher if this was the low, or if we're going to be testing a little bit lower towards the weekly moving averages as well. Okay, but overall, Visa is a great name. So that concludes the pullbacks. So let's go over the last section, which is the earnings beat. So these are companies that we always want to keep a lookout for, especially companies that have beat their earnings recently in Q2 of 2025. So let's dive in and see if there's anything interesting on these names. So the first one is ASML. So ASML, guys, again, has a monopoly on one of the processes of semiconductors. So you guys can see it did pull back to the weekly 200 moving average again. If you want to buy top stocks, you should look at it on the 200 weekly moving average as a starter position. You should always do that. So you guys can see we're possibly making an inverse head and shoulders here. And if that's the bottom, you'll see ASML continue pushing higher. Another name that I like is American Express. So American Express, we've mentioned, while it was pulling back, a starter position on a daily 200 moving average could make sense here. You have sort of these the trend line support acting as pretty good levels here. So let's see if American Express, if that was the low and continues heading higher. Same thing with like Visa and MasterCard as well. DHI. You guys know we've been in DHI since the lows with the Discord group, right? We've been calling it from the lows here, and we're already massively up. We took half profits at 165. So looking very good for DHI. Let's see if it can put in a bullish sequence and go higher. Again, the reason why we went in is because every time it reached the 200 moving average on a weekly, it signaled a low. And I do believe home builders and anything home related, guys, anything home related is a buy for 2026. We've been mentioning that in the Discord group for quite some time. So we're up on DHI as of right now for our swings. Interesting name as well is Duolingo. Now, Duolingo had a great earnings beat, pulled back all of its sort of profits here, but it is still at pretty interesting levels, right? From the swing lows to the swing highs, it's holding sort of these algo levels. And if it can hold that, we still have a weekly higher low in place, which is a good sign. But if it does break 262.82, expect Duolingo to come down and probably test the top of these areas, maybe around 200. The next name that I really love is Google. Of course, Google, guys, it's my former employer. And, you shouldn't bet against Google. It's going to continue going higher. We're almost at all-time highs here. So let's see if it can pull back towards the moving averages, right? So this is what we're looking for as well for another position. We're already in Google. Let's wait for another position to see if we can get in as well. So again, the Discord group, we're absolutely killing it, guys. You have to join. Another one is JP Morgan. So JP Morgan, this is a stock I might avoid for right now. Possible head and shoulders pattern forming. I do like it a little bit lower, maybe towards the moving averages here. So I'm not rushing to get in, but JP Morgan is a great name. But just be mindful of sort of where you are in the sequence there. Next one is Cloudflare. So Net is a great sort of name as well. Holding the support. Now, I think the pullback's a little bit too shallow for my taste. Only a 10% pullback on a high growth name. But it could be justified. Look at the revenues, guys. Absolutely killing it on an annual basis. So, I am looking to get into Cloudflare if it comes down very deeply, guys. Not right now for me. Netflix. So Netflix, again, guys, we mentioned possible starter position if you want to get into Netflix on the moving averages here a week ago, 2 weeks ago that we've mentioned, right? But again, can turn into a double correction and test the 200, right? Closer to those levels on the left. So, either or, Netflix is a great name for the future. You should always be buying it. You should be just fine. It has basically a monopoly on content, or basically a royalty on any content produced. So keep a lookout. Another name that we like as of now is PepsiCo as well. So PepsiCo started to break out. You guys can see we're starting to reclaim back above the 200 moving average. So in my opinion, if it can sort of push out and then pull back, consolidate, right, and wait for this golden cross of the moving averages to push through, you have that inflection point to buy in for a new uptrend on PepsiCo moving forward. I'm starting to see a lot of defensive names starting to look better, so keep an eye out on PepsiCo. Another name that would be interesting is PayPal. Now, I'm not a fan too much of PayPal. It's a great company, I think, but just for me, I'm a Stripe user instead. So, some levels to keep a lookout for. If it can keep pushing higher to 85, if it comes down, that's another buy. And then if it breaks the low for whatever reason, if we do get a bearish sort of few months, you have $50 as another buy as well for PayPal. But overall, I think the management team's buying back shares. They have good pipeline. I think a good growing company. You guys can see. Look at the growing revenues as well. Okay. For Reddit, you guys know Reddit's my darling. We've been mentioning about Reddit in the Discord group to buy at the lows here. We've mentioned another buy here, and look at the massive growth. Reddit is literally the darling that we've been mentioning, and the reason why is that it's one of the top 10 most visited sites in the world. It fuels all AI opinions and conversations as well. So anything that ChatGPT is pulling from, they're most likely going to get it from Reddit. And Reddit has so many users, it has an opportunity to monetize that fully in the future. So it's very much Facebook in the very early years, in my opinion. Okay, so keep a lookout. I think Reddit can be bought out by Facebook as well. As you guys know, Facebook loves buying out. Social media platforms have millions of users that are still in the monetization phase. So Reddit is a great name in the future. And I do think it can reach at least 265 to 323. Rocket. You guys know from the Discord group, we've been in Rocket from the lows. As I've mentioned, anything home related, guys, it was a buy, right? It's still a buy, in my opinion, for 2026. I think the worst is over for home builders. The worst is over for the real estate market. And we're going to keep going higher, and I'm going to keep pushing this higher. And we're already up so massively, guys, right? We're already up almost 50% on Rocket. So we're going to keep going. And let's see if it can keep pushing through. And then finally, the last two names, TMDX, monopoly on organ systems, on the moving averages. We mentioned to buy here last time. We also, for the Discord group, mentioned to buy here at $67. So you're in perfectly for TMDX. Keep going. We're going to keep pushing this higher. Any dip is considered a buy on this monopoly. And then finally, the last name that we like is TSM. So I'm not going to be chasing TSM at these levels. Again, we broke all-time highs. So we like for this to push up, fall back into support, and then we'll buy on the support. So those are the names, guys. And again, Every trade, every entry, everything is always posted in Discord. So come through. You get the day trade ideas, swing trade ideas, the long-term ideas, the signals of exactly when I get in and get out of my trades. The 100x baggers accounts, guys. We've already made 50% on the 100x baggers in just 2 months. Long-term portfolios, daily video updates every single day, guys. And then ultimately all the stocks that you guys need, from Google to HIMS to Meta, updated every single day, so you know exactly when to get in, when to get out, as well as the weekly charts across all the industries, so you know where the money's flowing into. So you're going to make so much money. I'm telling you, we have over 2,000 members here, so I look forward to seeing you here. And yeah, talk to you guys soon. Have a great rest of your Thursday.